Okay, so I have been so fortunate lately to be bringing in so many guest speakers because of all of the networking that I'm doing. And oh, let's see, hold on. Liz is joining us now. There she is. Liz, crazy Liz.
Hola.
You know, I was just going to introduce Jordan, but I guess I'll introduce Liz. For anyone who doesn't know, this is my crazy business partner, Liz.
I'm here. Oh, where is Jordan? There he is. I couldn't even see him. So just so y'all know, I'm a notary and I had to go notarize something. So if you're in Phoenix and you need a notary, woo,
yeah. Liz, I wish I knew that last week.
All right, well, just keep it in your thing because, yeah, I am. And so I can help you.
Awesome.
Did you remember to grab your notary stamp before you left the office, or did you have to go back and get it?
No, I got it yesterday when I was in there because I left myself a note on my computer or on my phone to get it. Okay. So no, if I would have had to go back, she would have had to wait a few more days. Okay. So, yep, nope, I knew.
All right.
So good. Awesome. Jordan, you weren't on last night, so, or not last night, but Monday night.
God, I've missed the last two. Usually I'm on there. I have a pretty good track record with TRC, but I've just been swamped. We've got like 5 remodels going on right now, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, well, good for you. I guess we got to be careful what we wish for, right?
That's right. And I'm juggling contractors too. We've had one general contractor that oversees most of our projects, but we're getting a little bit of a bottleneck. So I've got him on 2, and then I'm bringing in a new guy. He's not new, but he's new to our company. So we're throwing a lot at him to see what he can handle right now. So I've kind of
that's good. Do you feel good about him? Because that's just definitely can be tricky in this market.
I do. I've picked up a couple general contractors this year. One of them's really specializes in roofing and siding, but I've seen some of his interior remodel work too, and it's really good, but he's a little slower to the punch, you know? Like I've been waiting on a roof for about 2 months, and I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? So.
Ooh, that's not good.
Well, that's just the roofing guy. The other guy, he's on it, and he has some sort of. You guys might want to look into this in your market too. He has a contract with Fannie Mae, so they send him. If Fannie Mae decides that they want to carry out the remodel themselves and essentially do a flip themselves, they have that option. And they send him to bid on each one of them, and he's like one of 2 contractors in the area. So what we've kind of organized is, hey, if they're going to send you out to bid it, why don't you just snowball it, bid it high, scare them away a little bit, and then just back into it and say, hey, I'll buy this from you though, and we're going to try to angle into it like that and see if we can pick up some Fannie Mae properties before they even hit the market.
Oh, that's really good. You know, who else? Who was it? Somebody on this call, or Marie? Somebody that we did that talked about the government. Oh, it's Rochelle Ramirez, who does talks about some of those government contracts and things and getting on there. And as a woman-owned business, it gives you a small leg up too on that. So that's cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it was interesting. He's like one of 2 in the entire state, so he gets a lot of leads from them. So we're gonna explore that a little bit. So we've been going to look at a lot of properties together, and I've been busy with that and not able to get on those.
I know. And then on top of that, you went and got yourself a full-time job.
What was I thinking?
Yeah. We just mentioned that. He was talking about the benefits, insurance.
Yeah.
I know, but that's hard. I mean, we've been self-employed for 20 years. And even if one of my kids is bleeding and looks like they're dying, they still cannot go to the hospital.
Suck it up, rub some dirt in it.
Okay. And it's funny because we swear that my husband had COVID before COVID was a known thing. And the reason being is because another gal in our group here had come back from Hong Kong in early December of 2019. And then we were all in Ignite together, and she got very sick. He got very sick. Mia got very sick. I mean, with this weird, dry, crazy cough. I mean, the whole thing. And she'd been in Hong Kong. So the thing is that we were in Vail, Colorado. So he's also high at altitude. And he literally left in the middle of the night to go to the urgent care because I was like, unless you're dying, you are not going to the ER. And little did we know that he could have been dying. And they said, this is so weird. We don't know what's wrong with it. And he was at like an urgent care, not the ER. And they're like, you should really go to the ER. And he's like, oh no, I can't. My wife will not let me. I cannot go. And so then he came back to Phoenix and he was working up in Portland. Then he went to Portland, came back from Portland. And 3 weeks later, he was still sick. Went to the urgent care here. And they're like, you should really go to the ER. This is really weird. We don't know what's wrong with you. And he's like, no, I cannot go to the ER unless I'm dying. So anyway, that's the rule in my house.
Great. Your friend is the one that brought COVID to America. So let's all
Just
congratulate
one
him
of
for
the
that.
people, Jordan. There were probably hundreds of, people that brought it back. She was just one of them.
And that
She
was
was
before
first.
COVID was even known. Like we didn't even know about it yet.
Yeah.
She
I
was
stayed at the
first.
hotel with this woman the entire weekend. Of course, no questions about it.
You're right. But then you got very sick too.
Yeah.
I know, but look, it was all good. So anyway, the insurance, that's a whole nother thing. It just sucks. But socialistic insurance is not going to help us either. We just need to not have insurance companies be so greedy. That's my thing.
This is true.
Pay
All right.
doctors directly. All right, so go ahead, introduce Jordan.
Introduce Jordan. Well, honestly, I don't have like this lovely, 3-page bio or anything that I'm introducing. So I will let Jordan kind of give you all his own version of his background. But I will say that over the past, 5-6 months. I mean, I see Jordan pretty much every Monday night. He's also a member of TRC, so Top Results Consulting with Sean Tiberio, for anybody who doesn't know what that is. So we're on Monday night group coaching calls every week. And along with his real estate stuff that he was just talking about and his full-time job, he also does credit consulting. So I asked Jordan specifically if he could come on and talk to us today about the importance of building your personal credit and business credit, because he's an expert at it. And, we've just been, like I said, bringing on awesome speakers from all the different networks that we have. And I thought that this was a good topic, and we haven't had anybody really on our huddle to discuss it. So with that, Jordan, I'll let you kind of give your background and introduction and take it away. And it's up to you whether you want it to be like, interactive, if you want people interrupting you, or if you're just like, hold your questions to the end, whatever you want. We're a pretty chill group. So I leave it.
No, I'm not like that. I like to make it fun. So if you have questions, jump in there and ask them, and we'll stop and we'll address them. But you did a pretty good job, Marie. That's a good intro for not having like a 3-page bio or anything. You did well there.
Thanks.
Who have you had on? Have you had other people from TRC on yet?
So yeah, actually we just had Lorraine come on and talk about mortgage note investing. And then obviously Sean and Roger came on back in, what was it? October, November?
Yeah. Well, had we signed up yet? So maybe November, December, January, because Bill and Brooke aren't on here and they're part of their group. Mia's part of it. And then who else? Did JP ever come on or not? I don't remember now.
Yeah, John Paul's been on here. Yep.
That's a tough crowd to follow up. I wish I would have went first, and then they could have followed me.
Oh, please. No.
Okay, cool. Well, Marie did a good job. So Jordan, Crist, I am in a way different time zone than you guys. I was joking with Marie and saying, man, it's past my bedtime. I'm like East Coast. dark out here. It's still, I see daylight in a lot of your screens.
Hey, so was Lorraine. Lorraine was in the Bronx, so.
Yeah, that same time zone there, but she's a little further north. So I'm in Charleston, West Virginia, and we do real estate here. So the bulk of our business is really rental property. We started flipping houses back in 2017 and took our lumps, took our beatings, and then found fortune builders and jumped into that and learned, oh, okay, there's systems and actual ways to do this properly. So we did flip a few more throughout 2017, 18, 19, we slowed down. Towards the end of 2018, we really got into a couple big rental deals where we were buying from landlords that were in their 70s and just wanted to wipe their hands clean of their properties and carry out the rest of their years and not have to deal with real estate or tenants or anything like that anymore. So we acquired a pretty big portfolio from.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so Marie, and Rochelle, this is what Marie Berry, how did you buy those? Did you buy them outright? Did you have them subject to, have them carry the note and pay them? I mean, what was your strategy real quick on that?
I wish I knew about subject to or any of those fund strategies back then. I did not. This was like the first, I think I bought my first rental. We did a lot at the very end of 2018. So we bought one. It was like $11,000. We bought it. There's a lady already living in it, paying the rent. She still lives in it to this day. I didn't have to do had to change out a couple faucets. So that's my market. We buy for 10 to 30 grand. That's where we purchase, maybe 40.
Wow.
It's a whole different ball game from where you're at. Yeah, I know it's kind of scary. Sorry, I'm in this crap hole and you guys are in Phoenix.
Did you say $11,000?
$11,000. Yeah, it was renting for $550
What's that
at the time.
city again?
Charleston, West Virginia. You can come compete. You can come compete with me.
It's hillbilly. Hey, when I grew up in Columbus, we drove through there to get to Myrtle Beach.
You did. You do that. We have, it's kind of a weird area. We have 3 interstates that slam right into Charleston. So we get a lot of through traffic, but people just pass it by. You drive through downtown Charleston in 5 minutes and you're already through it. So it is an interesting area.
But it's awesome. Charleston's awesome.
No field trips yet, Rochelle. Let's hear them out first.
So bought that one. I think I've bumped the rent up to 600 now. We put new windows in it. I really haven't had to do anything to that property. So that was the first one. The second one, we did get owner financed. I think he sold it to us for 40. We put $4,000 down. And then we actually just did a cash out. We did a refi on a group of 5 properties and was able to cash out that investor along with about 5 others. And then came this portfolio. This guy had 28 properties that he owned outright, free and clear. I wish at the time I could have done an owner finance or subject to with him and just paid him instead of doing it the way that I did do it, because it's actually gotten us into a little bit of trouble. I'll go into that in a bit, but we are 28 years old at the time and he's 75. So he's like, you guys don't have enough money to buy these properties from me. He's not in that mindset of, raising capital and this, that, and the other. So long story short, he said, I'll cut you a slice of them. I'll sell you 8 of them. Well, turns out those are like the eight shittiest ones out of the whole bundle. And that's the ones I'm stuck with right now. So anyways, that's a different story for a different day. But anyways, we got into the deal and and this kind of goes into my credit journey a little bit too, but I was going to an event. It was TAB. That's Terry Thayer. And you might know some of the people that go to TAB. Those guys are out of Raleigh. We went down to Jamaica and had a bunch of speakers there, a bunch of different fields, short-term rentals. Milani Hawk talked about Airbnbs and all that stuff. And there's just a bunch of different entrepreneurs there. And I was actually going through the airport with Terry and his wife. We hit it off pretty good while we were there. And as we were going home, I said, hey, I got this deal back in West Virginia. I know you don't know where that's at, but look at these numbers and tell me what you think of it. So it was 8 properties. We negotiated to buy them for $270,000. So it was about 33 grand a piece. And I think the rents on them were about 7,600 bucks. So just rubbing elbows with him. He's like, these numbers are ridiculous. So anyways, I said, I don't know how to raise this much money at this point. You know, we usually raise about 100 grand, flip it, and then investor gets paid off. And he said, well, with a deal like that, you can probably just close it down with a private investor and then look to do a refinance on it. And I said, well, can you help me raise the money? I thought he was going to be the lender. He actually went out and got another lender from Fortune Builders, who's been a real pain in my butt because we couldn't refi these out because of the areas that they were in, the complexity of the company. I went into business with Terry, and his business is like a spider web. There's 10 businesses that feed into one, and the banks here just cannot, to this day, they cannot wrap around how to dissect his finances. So we were not able to refinance all 8 of those at one time like we planned. So I've sold a few of them. I sold one of them to one of the tenants that was living in one of them. He lived there for 21 years. I was like, dude, you've paid for this property probably 3 times. So we ended up selling that to him last month, sold another one to another investor. And then I actually took 3 of them and refinanced them into my company. I took actually the 3 best ones and was able to finally close this deal out actually just last month. So it actually took me 3 years to close this deal out, which has just been crazy. So that was the way I got into buying from landlords. Now, yes, we're doing subject twos, having them carry the notes, wrapping notes, doing all kinds of creative stuff. Right now, we're in negotiation with another group of investors that's in town. They all are married and have children, and they just don't want to deal with them anymore. They've had them for 5 years, and they're very nice properties. These are more like A class. The ones we were holding were like C and D. I mean, they're in the hood. I'm not gonna lie to you, they're in the hood. But learning lesson, and now we know what to look for when we're going into deals like this and so forth. So
yeah, that's huge. Marie, what was that guy's name? That McClowski, what was that guy? I gotta send.
Oh,
and I'll send that to you, Jordan. There's a guy, he teaches such a phenomenal model. And it's and it would be like buying those 28 from that guy and having him do the owner financing. And then, and we're working, some of us are talking about a deal similar to that. We haven't talked to the guy yet, but it's those guys at 75 years old. What's important to him is getting that check every month. He loves to go to the check. That's it. The power of zeros. Chris McClouchy. You need to look that guy up. He teaches all that about buying it from people like that and having them owner finance it. And then you take the headache and they just want to check every month. Because the other thing is they don't necessarily want all the capital gains all at once.
That's what this guy's been high on, is he hates paying Uncle Sam. So I think that's why he split those 8 off, and now we're trying to figure out how we can get the next 20 of them, because they actually are in better areas.
Then you absolutely need to look that guy up.
Yeah, I will do that.
I think he's either in Cincinnati or he's in Florida, and I say that because he was in both places, and I don't remember, but he can totally help you. And he came to our local as RIA and does a presentation, and then teaches the whole course. And that's it. Buying them from the guy that's out there and just taking them off his hands.
That's interesting. These guys are a little younger. I think they've owned them for 5 years, and they have like they probably have a 25-year loan with the bank. So I'm trying to figure out how to do it, but we can sit here and talk about
that's okay. Just know the method. Yeah, know the method. And then even that older gentleman, the other one, just so you know, it's just a good, I don't know, just a good way. good another method of acquiring
Yeah,
properties.
getting those would put me up to like 55 doors. So I'm like really high on going after those. So we'll see. I'm trying to work it out right now. We'll see. But I mean, we can sit here and talk real estate transactions
I know.
all night.
So that's good. But that's good for everybody to know. And we've talked about it before, but you all should take down that name and look that guy up.
Yeah.
It's a great way to acquire property.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I threw it in the chat along with the website for anybody who wants to check it out.
So to keep going, also on that trip in Jamaica, I met a guy that was flipping houses with credit cards. And I was like, okay. I flew down here for free using a credit card, but you're on a whole different wavelength here. So we rubbed elbows there, had a couple dinners, and then we actually went to Cancun the following year in 2019, and that's really where I started digging into the credit side of real estate and what you can do with it. So I actually hired him as a coach. He was I think he was just starting out. He was doing credit repair for people on the personal side. He was just starting out. So he gave us a huge discount. I think his program now is probably 15 or 20 grand a person, which is crazy to think that I got it for way less than that. But it kind of started turning my gears on what you can do with credit, especially in your business. Up until that point, we had a Lowe's business credit card and a Home Depot business credit card. Those are pretty easy to come by. But what he was doing was a little bit different. He does it's called a credit sweep. Credit sweep is pretty much wiping your credit clean, getting all the negative marks off of it, cleaning it up, getting all the inquiries down, increasing your credit age, and then he will apply. He calls it a mass apply. He'll apply for about 10 credit cards in 10 minutes. And as soon as one of them gets declined, that's when you stop. So he's able to build these really large credit lines with different banks and utilize those cards in his real estate business. And there's certain ways to apply, and there's certain, you want to be in incognito mode and have a bunch of different browsers open. There's this whole strategy behind it. And I have done it once, and I'm starting to fill up a book now. I have to keep I can't fit all these in a wallet. So I carry around this little man purse of credit cards. So I've started using the strategies that he's talking about, and we've been able to build up quite a credit profile. And the reason it's important is because I used to, use my personal credit cards in my renovation projects. And what happens is your utilization goes through the roof and your credit score plummets. Well, then what happens when you go to do a refinance and you're trying to cash some investors out and get a bank loan? Well, they'll look at your credit utilization and say, buddy, you're too high. You got to get this under control before we can do anything. So then your timeline is further down the road, and you have to keep paying that private investor, or however you've hard money lender, or however you've structured the deal. You've got to pay them longer before you can refinance because you don't have the credit score to do what you need to do. So that's why it's important to remove your personal credit from your business. And that's what I'm really working on with a lot of my clients right now is just stressing the importance of that. And there's companies out there, I've played with a couple of them before, like your Fund and Grows. I'm sure everybody's heard of that. They pop up on your YouTube all the time. I pulled the trigger on them once upon a time just to see what their process is like to get their clients these credit cards. And I really was not impressed. They want to charge you $3,000 to $5,000, and all they do is go in there and they mass apply. Essentially, they go in there, they get all your information, and they go apply for a bunch of credit cards for you. Some of those credit cards are worthless. They're just cards for them to say, oh yeah, I got you $20,000 in credit on this worthless West Banco 1% crap cashback card. Well, that's not really the point. The point is to get cards that you're able to really effectively use in your business and reap the rewards of those perks. So that's what I do. I use cards that are going to reward me in ways that I can travel for free. I haven't paid for a flight, and I don't even know how long. I fly my friends all over the place, and that's just because we stack our cards in certain ways, and we take we take certain cards and use them to hit the sign up bonuses. We call them subs. It's a spend bonus essentially. You've seen them before. Spend 5,000 in the first 3 months, get 100,000 points. Those are constantly, those promos are constantly coming out. Like I miss them all the time because I'm like, well, I don't need the card right now. But every 3 months, American Express or Chase is running some new promo to where you can get this new card and utilize that spin bonus. And that's how we've been able to accumulate so many points. And even like with your lows, I have a contractor. It's kind of funny. He doesn't even know how to use the points. He's got like 300,000 lows points. That guy could build a house with his lows points. You know what I mean? He doesn't even know what he's doing with them. So that's kind of where my business credit coaching part comes in. I don't do the fund and grow model. I don't charge people $5,000 to go apply a bunch of cards for them. I'm actually teaching my people, first of all, how to build your foundation, your business credit foundation. And I'll show that to you guys. I just keep it in a notes. It's just a refresher for me. And as I go through step by step with my clients, I hit on certain points. But most of you, everybody's in real estate here. I'm assuming this is real estate huddles.
Yeah.
So the first few steps, let me blow this up a little bit. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. I do everything in Evernote. But I take everybody through a process. I just call it a 7-step process of business credit foundations. And first and foremost, you got to set up your LLC, right? We all have LLCs. We actually go to the extent now, me and my coach, we'll create kind of like dummy LLCs. They're just holding LLCs to have another avenue to apply for more business credit, because you can only do so much with one company before they start saying, well, why do you need all this? Well, you can actually just create a new company and start the whole process all over. So you start an S corp or an LLC, and you use a neutral name, and that's a big thing. You want to use a neutral name. You don't want to be Jordan Crist Real Estate Investor.com LLC, whatever. Like, that's got red flag words all over it. Real estate, investments, properties. You want to keep it neutral. Crist Consulting. They don't know what I do. They don't know I do credit coaching or whatever. So consulting is an easy one. You're doing this just so that further down the line you're not raising those red flags. If you're going to a bank and asking them for $100,000, you don't want to be the investments company or the properties company. Of course, we're all in real estate. So of course we have companies with those names, but you can create spin-off companies and run this process the same way. So the next is just getting your business ready for credit. You should have a NAV account. You should have a Moz account. These are all accounts that NAV is like the Credit Karma of business credit. So it's going to tell you your scores in NAV. You don't need to pay for any of their services, but I will say if you do pay, I think $29 or $39 a month, they actually report as a trade line to all 3 bureaus on your credit report. So it's actually a good one to go ahead and pay for if you're ready to start ramping that up. And that's nav.com. I'm not currently paying for it right now because I have other trade lines and I don't need them, but it is a good starting trade line to have reporting on your 3 credit bureaus. And those are a little bit different. Dun & Bradstreet is the first credit bureau. Experian Business and Equifax Business. There's no TransUnion in business credit. And then Moz. Moz is $199. You ramp it up for the first year and then you cancel it after the first year. What it does is it broadcasts your company across a large amount of websites and other I don't want to misspeak, but it broadcasts your company across a large number of websites so that they know you are in fact a business. You also want to list with like 411, Yellow Pages, White Pages, all those companies that are out there. Google My Business. You want to get your company on as many of those websites as you possibly can, so that later down the line, when people are searching you or banks are searching you, you pop up on all those. This is the foundations of business. You're just creating this snowball of foundation so that when people are looking into you before they give you a loan, oh, you've got all your ducks in a row. Check that box. Okay. And then once you get everything set up, you just want to start networking with your local community banks. We've had a lot of success with this recently, and it's taken me years to get to this point because I didn't know all this stuff right out of the gate. But we have a bank here, Premier Bank, that finally they understand what we do. Purchase home, raise private capital, renovate the house, get it rented out, and then we want to refinance it and cash our lender out and take whatever's left. Now we own the property. Okay, basic BRRRR strategy. I'm in West Virginia. These banks are full of hillbillies. And they just didn't understand that until we found Premier Bank. And we've gone through this process, and finally, who pops up in our SBA lender list in my state? Premier Bank. They actually purchased another bank that we had tried to do the same refinance with years ago, and it didn't work. Then this bank comes in, boom, now it works. So we've actually refinanced about 10 properties with them now. I think we have a $500,000 credit line with them to where we're able to just literally insert properties into that portfolio. There's no appraisals anymore. There's no nothing. I tell him what I think the property's worth. I tell him what it rents for. He runs a little ratio on it, and we go in and sign some paperwork, and boom, now they cut a check, send it to the lender, dump the extra funds into our bank account, and now we have a 20-year loan on these properties. So that's the importance of this. You're networking with all the local banks in your area, because you never know which one of them. They don't even pull our credit anymore. You never know which one of them. This is all. It's called a low doc or no doc lines of credit or loans, where I'm, like I said, no credit check, no appraisal, no nothing. Go tell them what the property you think the property's worth. Tell them what the rents are, and go sign some paperwork. And now it's yours, buddy. So that's amazing. Like that's taken me a long time to get to that point, but without all the other steps. I think he did a soft pull on my credit the first time we did this. It didn't even hit my credit report. So I was like, how's he know my credit score? I didn't even see an inquiry or anything like that.
Jordan, wait, real quick. You say it took a long time, but it's not that. I mean, you're talking a few years or a few months. I mean, because you just said 2017, 2018, 2019, it's only 2021.
Yeah, I guess in my mind, it's a long time because I've been through 20 banks. I get
that, but that's just what, I mean, I just, in that saying, it's really not. I mean, it's not 10 years. It's not 15 years. This can happen in a relatively efficient amount of time.
Yeah, you are right. I think I got told no probably 20 to 25 times before I finally got this one. And by the luck, I mean, I won't say luck of the draw. This bank bought a bank that previously denied me. It's kind of weird walking in there and being like, where's my check? Instead of, oh, I got to go suck up to this vice president guy that's not going to give me the loan anyways. It's just ironic walking into that bank now and just go up to the third floor. Hey, Mr. Vice President, sign here. Okay, great. And that's all it takes. Now, what are we doing now? We're looking for the next bank that's going to do this with us, because eventually they'll cap us out. I think he's capping us at about 500,000 in this manner. And then between 500,000 and $1 million in loans, there's some extra steps, and I don't know what those extra steps are yet. We haven't really got to that discussion. When we went in and signed, it was May 1st actually, so just 2 weeks ago, we did a refi, and we started the discussion. I said, hey, Phil, we're getting close to that $500,000 threshold. We need to start talking about what are these next steps? What do you want to see? And Marie, that's another reason I got that job too, because without a W-2, that was one of the things that was holding us back. My business partner worked at a car dealership for 8-9 years. He makes over $100,000 a year. He does great. My credit score is great, but no income.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things where it was kind of like a hard stop with some of these banks. Like, oh, no income. Yikes. I said, yeah, I run my business full time. I will be making income as soon as you refinance all these properties for me.
Right.
But they didn't like that. So, you know, that's just, you know, a little bit of my story about how we got there. But uh, if I could go back, what I would do is I would spreadsheet all of them out. You know, Google, look in your, you know, I don't even know if phone books exist anymore, but get all your local community banks in your area, and don't be afraid to go outside of your city either. Here, I've got my whole county and the next county to roam around in and look for these banks in. I don't know. I mean, I've been to Phoenix, I've been to Arizona. I don't know how big it is or how many banks are out there, but spreadsheet them all out and start calling them, network with them. See what vice president you can take out to lunch, or, you know, whatever. You want to get in the same room as them. This is just like Facebook. You know, you're trying to put this, you know, I don't know, you're trying to build this persona online. Well, you've got to do that in your community of banks too. You got to get out there. You got to get in front of them. And then here's some questions. You know, what type of products do you offer for small businesses? Do you offer business credit cards? That's important. Do you own the card, or is it a third party? I'll give you a good example. Where's that credit card? I just got one. I just got this one. It's Center State Bank. But when I call them, this was the weirdest card. I only got this one for a 0% balance transfer from one of my other cards that I can't pay off right now. But they don't actually, this bank doesn't own this card. They actually third party this out. But this is a really good one for, this is a business credit card. I had some debt. I think it's probably Fortune Builders debt that I've been bouncing around for the last 3 years, to be honest with you. But I just bounced that around from 0% card to 0% card because I just don't want to pay it off. I don't know what it is, but this was the card that we got for that, and they gave us $50,000 for nothing, and then we just balance transferred over to it. But it's a third party card. This bank doesn't own this card. They source that out. So ask them, is it your card or do you use third party? Because me trying to log into my Center State account, I don't have a Center State account. I got this other third party account. It's like Elon or something else. I don't even know. So ask that. And then,
So
Does that
is there a
matter?
benefit if they're
Yeah.
using a third party versus them
no,
having?
I don't think there's really a benefit to it. I think the goal is to get products with that bank so that you can do some deals with them later down the line. You know, you want to be using their products. So if it's a third party that they're using, they're not really going to see those transactions on your card. It's almost like, you know, opening a checking account, but the money goes somewhere else and that bank doesn't even see that money coming in. Like if you want to do business with Chase, it's good practice to open a checking account and a savings account and go dump some money into those and get some activity going, and then start applying for their cards. Don't just come out of the gate and ask them for $1 million. You know, start using some of their products first so that you're okay. You're a customer now. Now you've got a relationship there.
Okay,
I think
so one other question about credit cards. How do you know if you're applying for a business credit card that they're going to use your like business tax ID number versus your personal? Because they will ask you for both, right? So how do you know that they're going to report to the business bureaus rather than the personal credit bureaus?
So, okay, it's kind of a two-faced question. So are they going to report to your business or your personal? All of them. If they're business cards, they're going to report to your business. Capital One traditionally will also report to your personal. That's why I don't like Capital One. You got that right. That's my joke. Capital One. You're supposed to laugh, but everybody's on mute. I don't like Capital One for that reason, and I don't like Capital One because they're notorious for closing cards out that haven't been used in a long period of time. Not a long period. I mean, I've seen people not use them for 6 months and they'll just cut the card off. The goal behind this is to have as many lines open as possible, because if you need them, you revert to them. And there's another thing I'll get to later down the line, but you want as many of these cards open as possible. They are like trade lines. So just like your personal credit score, do you know the total amount of accounts that the personal credit bureaus want to see is 21 or more? That's cars, credit cards, mortgages, you name it, department store cards. They want to see 21 or more. It kind of goes against the general thinking, like use less of your credit, have less loans out there, and your credit score will be better. Well, that's wrong. The more the merrier here. You do want to keep your balances low, but you want to have a lot of accounts. Same thing with business. You want to have a lot of accounts. You want to have a variety of accounts. Mortgages, trade lines, credit cards are the three main vehicles with business. Did that answer your question? I sometimes I get off on a tangent and I forget the question.
Yeah, that's fine. I just, specifically, you mentioned that Capital One will report to the business bureaus, plus they'll report on your personal credit as well.
Yeah.
Are there, I guess, specific cards that you do like for business versus personal?
Yes, I love Chase for everything, business and personal. Now, the bigger banks, Chase, American Express, Capital One, Discover is another one that reports to your business and your personal. The bigger banks are always going to pull your personal credit. So you're going to get a hard inquiry there. Except for American Express, they have a rule. I believe if you already have one account open with American Express, business account, they will not do a second personal credit score, personal credit pool when you go to get your second card with American Express. Does that make sense?
Even if it's in a different business?
Good question. I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know that. I
But
think you
But
still have.
if I have multiple American Express cards with the one business, they won't keep pulling personal. That's still good to know.
Right. And the other thing with American Express is 5 card limit, and that's personal and business combined. So I've had to cancel, I've had to upgrade, I've had to do all kinds of different things with my American Express cards as I further my journey with American Express. I have had every Delta, Sky Miles, American Express business card known to man at this point. But what I keep doing is when a new one comes out, I'll take my previous card and I will call them and ask them for an upgrade or a downgrade. And I want to make sure that I can still get the sign up bonus with that one too. I don't want them to cancel my card because I don't want to lose the age on that card. So never let them cancel. Never let them cancel and then reapply. Always try to get them to upgrade or downgrade the card. So the big banks, to answer your question, the big banks are always going to pull your personal credit except for that one little American Express trick. This did not pull my personal credit, and it does not report to my personal credit either. Actually, this is my business partner's name is on that. So it didn't affect him in either way. It didn't pull his personal credit, didn't affect his personal credit. So your smaller banks, like that's Center State Bank. I'm trying to look and see if I've got any other ones. Bank of America, I got a Bank of America recently. It did not pull my personal credit score. Some of them will. It really depends on the card too. Some of your higher end cards, they will pull your personal, like a Platinum, Amex Platinum, likely going to pull your credit score. This American Express Business Plus, that's no annual fee, likely not going to pull your personal. So there's no like one size fits all or anything like that. It's almost like you kind of got to do your homework. I'll give you you know what? Let's do this in the chat box, which I can't see it because I've got my.
You're saying that if you have an American Express personal, you can ask for it to be transferred to a business? How does that work?
No, you can't do that. You can. So let me give you here. Let's do this. Let's take this card.
But Jordan, you can transfer your like balance, like if you had like 30 grand on a personal card, you could transfer that balance to a business American Express, right? Because we've done.
I have done that before. I do not know if I've done that with American Express before. I believe I have done it with Chase.
Okay, we
That's a
have
good-
done that with American Express, so I know I don't know over how many cards. We don't have 5 of them, but that was good to know. So, but American Express will do that.
That is good to know. That is very good to know. And I'm typically holding 2 personal cards with American Express and then 3 business cards. I don't want to give up my Lowe's business card. I like getting that 5% discount at Lowe's, and their fuel rewards are good. So I keep that one. And then I always have a Sky Miles card. So this was a good example. This one is, let's see, I can't even remember the name of it. Oh, it was the Reserve. So this card, its annual fee went up from like $500 to $650 or something crazy like that. I just didn't like it. So what I did, instead of canceling this card out, I downgraded to this card. They literally have the exact same credit card number on it. And that's what I'm talking about. Don't cancel them. Just upgrade or downgrade them. I wasn't flying a whole lot of Delta. I think the Reserve gets you like maybe a free flight a year. You get to go in the Delta lounge for free or whatnot. I wasn't using a whole lot of that, so it didn't make sense for me to hold that card. But what I did do is when I got the card, it had spend 5,000, get 100,000 Delta points. That's what I was going after that card for. I wanted those 100,000 points, and I knew I could spend $5,000 in 3 months. So I went after it. I got it. Just because you downgrade it or upgrade it, you don't lose your points. They stick with you until you use them.
Well, and you can balance,
So-
you can transfer that balance over to the downgraded card that you're using. Whatever your limit is, you can move it over.
Exactly. So so there's a good example of some things you can do with your cards. Never close them out. Even with your personal cards, you lose your age. As soon as you cancel them, you lose your credit age, and that sucks because you can't just.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So does that work for City Card as well? Citibank,
Like a
transferring
city,
it to asking him to transfer it to a business account?
and that I don't know. Rochelle mentioned that. I've done it with Chase, but I don't think I've done it with any other bank. So that's a good question. You might just be able to call them up and ask them that question. Most of them have pretty good customer service. They should be able to answer that for you. I don't know the answer, or I definitely would give it to you. I don't know about Citi. I don't have any Citi business cards. I'm pretty high on Chase and American Express. Those, and the only reason being is their point values are just way higher than the rest of them. Chase, you get ultimate rewards points, and you can move those wherever you want them to go. You can do flights, you can do hotels, you can do rental cars. They're the most versatile point in the whole credit card kingdom. And then Amex would come in number 2 there. Last place would be Capital One. So don't get any of those cards. I put a website that I use pretty often. It's uscreditcardguide.com. I like to get on their newsletter. They send updates. They tell you when the new cards are coming out. They tell you when the bonuses are going from 60,000 to 90,000. It's a really good newsletter. It's free, and that's where I do most of my research on. They've got business and they've got personal credit cards intermingled in there, and it also tells you what credit bureau they pull your credit from to approve or deny you for the card. So that's a good resource. I use it all the time. I'm just moving down my list, but if we want to stop and get questions, we're bouncing back and forth between business and personal, which I don't mind. I think they both kind of go hand in hand a little bit. But I would like to pause and get a drink. And if you guys have any questions for me, then hit me with them. Nope. I'm surprised Liz always has questions on Monday Night Call. So.
Oh my God, Liz is the question queen. You are right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got on the call late. And so Jordan, where are you from?
I'm from Charleston, West
okay.
Virginia. It's very small and very beautiful.
Hey, very good. Your slide has a lot of information, but it's very small to see.
I am sure it is. I've tried to blow it up, but let's see if we can zoom in on it a little bit. It's not even, it's a, I use Evernote to keep my thoughts, but I don't know if it's going to let me zoom in or not. I can email this out to you.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I did did Mickey's group, and I just emailed everybody in the group this little notepad.
That
after
would
the
be
call, so-
awesome. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Then you won't have to write it all down.
Thank you.
This is, you can't share this with anybody though, because this is like my
Right.
trademark material here. This is my walking thoughts.
I will not share.
I'm just kidding. I don't
What was
mind.
the name of the website that you said that you? What was the name of the website that you said that you feel like is really good to sign up for their newsletter?
uscreditcardguide.com. I think I put that in the chat box too. I really like that one. And then there's another one, Award Wallet.
Okay.
Award Wallet, and they do a pretty good newsletter as well. I'm a credit nerd, so I subscribe to all those, but I'll only give you the good ones. You don't have to read through, all of them.
Nerd Wallet, did you give us Nerd Wallet? Is that what you just said?
I've used Nerd Wallet, but that's more of like they're more of kind of like a blog and an app. Award Wallet. I'll have to look at my email. I use them to track all of my rewards points, and you essentially put all your reward accounts in there, and it sends you updates. It'll say, hey, these are expiring. You need to use them by such and such date, or hey, you just got a big bonus. I've got a lot of cards, so I have to use something to keep it all organized, like my little man purse wallet thing.
Yeah, I found
Hey,
it.
and this is, sorry. And this is Valee. You had mentioned, so for business, you said you were talking about the kinds of lines we need. So you said mortgages, credit cards, trade lines, and make sure something related to vehicles. Did I understand that correctly? Is that what you said? Or
yeah, this one's kind of new for me, but my business partner is a car dealer. So he got a new truck, and instead of putting it in his personal name, he put it under our business. Now he pays it out of his own, money each month. We don't pay it out of our company, but he was able to add an extra trade line or a loan to our company by putting the truck under his business's name. What you're going for there is just a variety of different loans. Credit cards are obviously one, mortgages, vehicles, and trade lines. And we'll get into trade lines here. We can do that right now. Actually, trade lines are a part of your is getting your business ready for credit. These first two steps, you want to start adding trade lines to them. And let's do that real quick. So does everybody know what trade lines and vendors are for your business credit?
You're talking about Home Depot?
They're one of them, but they're actually like a tier 3. They're a little bit harder to get. We have Home Depot credit card, of course, but you can actually get net 30, net 45, net 60 terms with Home Depot. And that's what trade lines are. Anybody that will give you a net term, it's almost like they're extending you a line of credit. You don't have to pay for it today while you're at the store. You get invoiced and you pay for it later. Okay.
Yeah, so there are tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Your goal is to try and get tier 3s, right?
Yes. Sorry, I'm having a doggy issue. She hurt her paw tonight, so we got to go to the emergency room for doggies. Yes, so you have 3 tiers, and the first tier you can get without really doing anything. I mean, they're very easy to get. You just have to get on their website and apply for them or call them up. I'll name them. I know you can't. Maybe I can put these in the chat box. Let's see. Let's see if it'll let me do a little copy paste so you guys can have them. Yeah, it's going to look a little crazy, but That's okay. Copy and paste is good, right? Cool.
That worked.
Uline, Quill, Granger, Print Country, Summa Supplies is a super easy one to get. Laughlin and Associates. And these, my little list tells you what they report to. And you'll see most of the tier 1 only reports to Dun & Bradstreet. I don't know why that is, to be honest with you, but these are the easiest ones to get. And those you should try to, we go for 3 to 5 in tier 1 before we move to tier 2. And then you want to get at least 5 in tier 2. You really want to try to get quite a few in tier 2 before you move to tier 3, because they're a little bit harder to get. So I'll put tier 2 in our chat box. Some of these, I haven't updated this list in a while, so I apologize for that, but a simple Google search can get you there. Some of them have phone numbers, some of them have websites, some of them just tell you what they report to. So I do need to update this.
Well, isn't it what you want? You want them to report to Dun & Bradstreet because that's what increases your PHX.
True, but you also have an Experian business and an Equifax business as well. And those are other credit bureaus that look into your business credit. That will also help you increase your payback.
Right. So I had a problem with the HD Supply. When I've tried to apply for that one, they denied me because I did not have no Equifax reporting on the Dun & Bradstreet. Only had the Experian, and they didn't use Experian. They don't use Experian. They use Equifax.
That is interesting. So they denied you because you didn't
Yep.
have anything reporting to Equifax. And I'll show you too. I'm personally having an issue with Equifax right now too. They have my wrong business address. I think there's another company with a similar name to me in another state, and they have that on my NAV account. So Equifax seems to be, well, for me and you at least, Equifax seems to be the thorn in our side. So I haven't not quite figured out what it is with them, but you're right. Dun & Bradstreet and Experian, they seem to be the ones that most of the credit card companies are looking at. So for me, it's like, time cost of money. So am I going to go fight with Equifax over it, or I'm just going to, move on and go to the next thing? I haven't had the time to fight with them yet. So I haven't got my Equifax fixed, but it seems like like you said, Dun & Bradstreet is the primary, credit bureau that business creditors are looking at when they're going to extend you a loan.
It's Lily again. I'm sorry. Can you repeat again? How many did you say in tier 1? At least 3. And then what did you say in tier 2? How many before you move on? 5? Is that what you said?
Yeah, at least 5 in tier 2.
Okay.
And 3 to 5 in tier 1.
Okay.
And really, it's best practice to I would apply for 3 of these right out of the gate. Go get 3 tier 1s. And then every couple months, it's just like a credit card. You don't want to have a bunch of or your personal credit. You don't want to have a bunch of hard inquiries in month 1. So don't just go out and apply for 30 of them in the first month. Plus, you have to buy a product from each one of these. You don't want to do that anyways. I would section it off. I'd say go apply for 3 tier 1s in month 1. Wait maybe 3 months. Apply for 2 more tier 1s and go ahead and get a tier 2. Right? And then the following 3 months, maybe get 1 tier 1 and get 2 more tier 2s. You want to kind of stagger it a little bit. It's like I said, it's almost like hard inquiries for your personal. Space it out a little bit, pace yourself on it. These aren't make or break. Okay. They will strengthen your business credit profile, but these are not make or break things. Like Premier Bank doesn't look and see how many trade lines I have before they refinance my property, right? This is just strengthening your overall business credit, foundation, so that when you do, I'm not in any $1 million loans or anything like that, so I don't know exactly, what they will look at. But they're not going to look at how many trade lines you have. They're not going to look at what trade lines you have. They're going to look at your PHX score, your Experian business score. Are you an A? Are you in that? Is your PHX above an 80 or at 80, or is it low? Is your Experian a D, or is it an A or B? They'll look at that kind of stuff, but they're not going to really. They won't know tier 1, tier 2. They don't really care about that type of stuff. They want to know, how many accounts do you have? Are you paying all your stuff on time? And how's your business credit score? These help fortify your business credit score.
Yeah, because I have a PAYDEX of 80 now. I've gotten it to 80, but what I'm trying to work on too is more of the Experian and Equifax to get that bumped up. And and so I appreciate this list, because to me it's been a little harder and a little more confusing sometimes to even know always which ones report. Like they'll say they report to Dun and Bradstreet, and like you've got that on here too, but then not always, even though they do report to Experian, I've found they don't, it's harder to find that out. I'm finding.
I agree.
Place.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree with you too. It seems like Dun and Bradstreet is like the king of business credit, and these other ones it's a real struggle to try to get more accounts with them. And I'm the same way as you. I think we're at a 75 PAYDEX. Our Dun and Bradstreet's an A. Our Experian is an A or a B, and then our Equifax is like a D. I'm like, what the heck is that all about? So
yeah, because that makes no sense. It's like, how can they be that far out of whack, right?
I know. At least with your personal credit, they're somewhat similar.
Right.
I do find that Experian tends to be a little bit like Equifax and TransUnion are almost always very, very similar. Experian is the kind of the outlier in your personal credit. I'm going to put these tier 3s in this chat box too.
Hey, Jordan, can I ask a question?
Go for it.
When you're starting out into the business, they always tell you not to do more than 3 hard inquiries on your credit rating, because your credit rating will go down. Now you're to take out how many cards affect you, and is that more of a personal thing or a business thing, or both?
Say that one more time. My computer's giving me fits over here, and I couldn't. A couple words cut out.
When you go for credit cards, they tell you not to do more than 3 pulls, because it stays on for like 3 years or whatever, and then it falls off and it dings your credit. Now, is that more of a personal or a business thing? And then you're saying go for 3 cards on the first tier and 5 cards on the second tier, but only go 3 months in between.
Okay.
Wreck your credit.
So kind of you got 2 different questions going there. So first, with credit cards, because these are not credit cards, these are trade lines. So these are not going to ding your credit in any sort of way. These aren't going to hit your personal credit. These all go under your business, and they are essentially, they're buy a product from these people, get net 30 terms with them. Don't pay it day one. You want them to actually invoice you. Okay. You want to wait at least 2 weeks before you actually pay it to give it time to report to your business credit. These won't go against your personal. Okay. So they're trade lines for your business credit. So these won't hurt your personal at all. But yes, to your point with credit cards, I used to do, I talked about the mass apply a little bit at one point, where we'll apply for 10 credit cards in a night. I don't condone doing that more than once every year to 2 years. And you really need to know the strategy behind that. Now, doing it in a normal fashioned way, I would say don't apply for any more than 2 credit cards per month. And then after you do that, you need to wait probably 3 months before you apply for the next round. And there's some rules. So we can I'll go over this real quick. Chase is my favorite credit card company. Chase has a rule. It's called 524. That means if you have applied for more than 5 credit cards in the last 24 months, you are automatically going to get denied by Chase. So with my clients, what we do is we stack up a bunch of Chase cards first. We'll apply for 2 of them in the first month. Then we'll get 2 business cards in the 3rd month. We'll let those season. We'll let our personal cards season for 3 months. We use them, start showing Chase that, hey, we're using them. Then in month 3, we'll get 2 business cards. So like a Chase Inc. We'll go for a Chase Inc. and then maybe a Chase Southwest or Chase like the United card, or I believe Marriott is with Chase. So we'll get 2 business cards. Here's the thing with the business cards. They don't count against 524. They don't count against it, but Chase will look and make sure that you haven't opened 5 accounts. If you've opened 5, they will deny you for the business card, but the business card doesn't count against your 524. So you've opened 2 personal, now you're at 224. You open 2 business, you're still at 224. They don't count against you, but Chase does look and say, oh, okay, he's only opened two cards in the last 24 months. We're good to approve him with those. Okay. You will take a ding. Every time you get a hard inquiry, you're going to take a 5 to 10 point drop. It'll rebound. It'll come back up over the course of the next 3 months. I would say too, if you have more than 8 inquiries, you probably need to try to remove some of those inquiries before you go applying for new cards. They don't hurt your credit score that bad, but it's a common thing for, I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm just looking at all of you on this tiny little screen. They will start, you can get denied, and the letter that comes in the mail will say too many inquiries in recent months. So that is one of the reasons where you can get a denial. So if you've got more than 8, I'd start slowing it down, let some of them fall off, or contact somebody like me, and that's part of my program. We remove them, we get rid of them. There's ways to do it. Experian is extremely easy to remove. The other 2 credit bureaus, they're a little bit more of a pain in the butt, but it can be done. Matter of fact, if you go, let's do this. Let's share this. Pop on my website, which is not this. This website right here is my credit consulting website, cristconsulting.com. If you click the free training, it's going to ask you for your email, and then it's going to take you to a new page. It's going to have a 45-minute training that I did with a group maybe last year. And then right below that, there's 2 letters. They're inquiries. They're letters to help you remove inquiries. I'm not going to tell you that they're going to remove all your inquiries, but it's a good starting point. You can fill out those letters and send them to the credit bureaus, and you can watch a couple of them drop off there. That's a free thing. You can download them right off my website. And that's the way I would dispute TransUnion and Equifax. I do not like to call those 2. I don't like to call them because you always get somebody from Pakistan that can't understand English, and they will not do anything for you. So that's that. Experian is a little easier to do. I can't explain it to you right here because it actually involves like your iPhone. You can call Experian, and there's a certain commands, you push 4, and then you push 3, and then there's a certain series of numbers that you push to get to a very specific department, and then you can easily negotiate with that department what inquiries belong and which ones don't. So that's Experian, but I can't do it right now because I can't remember it off the top of my head. So you can remove your inquiries. Don't get too frazzled about inquiries. If you get above 8, if you're approaching that 8, try to get some of them removed before you go applying for any new ones.
So Jordan, I have another question about your trade lines. When you're talking about those Uline and Quill and all of those, when do you have to continue in order to
in the system somehow? Or is it once you've got a trade line from them, it doesn't matter if you use them again or not?
Yeah, they'll stop reporting after a while if you're not using them. They're not as stringent as, let's say, if I don't use my Discover card for 2 years, chances are Discover might close me out on that. It would be good practice to purchase something from them once a year or once every 6 months. 6 to 12 months will keep that account open and active. One of mine is like Granger. We're all real estate people. Go buy a 5-gallon bucket of exterior paint from Granger once a year and use that on one of your remodels. Or if you're a gardener, I'm a gardener, I go buy a rake from them once in a blue moon so I can have a new rake for my garden. Like small stuff. You don't have to make big purchases or anything like that. It's not the dollar amount of the trade line that matters. It's having that trade line on your reporting on your business credit report. Some of them will fall off. That's okay. There's more of them out there you can go apply for, you know.
I guess I should actually look at that dang big Uline magazine that they send me every once in a while then, because I just throw that in the garbage all the time. I'm like, why? Why do they send me this big thing? It's like a phone book.
I'm actually sitting on that right now to make me look a little bit taller. How's it doing?
Sweet.
That's hilarious. Love
The
it.
thing is huge, man. It is a phone book. Pretty colors too. What else we got? I can keep going through that list, but I honestly think it's kind of boring.
No,
I
okay.
wanted to ask about,
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, my turn, Liz. I was just wondering about, and we're talking a lot about credit cards. What about credit, lines of credit, business lines of credit? Those are different, right? And, does it really matter whether you're just using credit cards or trying to get a business line of credit?
I guess it's all about purpose. So what would you want to use the line of credit for versus what you would want to use the credit card for? And we do both. So I will jump back to this because that is a good question. And it kind of gets back to my little slideshow or whatever you want to call that there. When you're going through this whole process, ultimately that is the goal, Wendy, is to get into a bank that's going to give you lines of credit. We did kind of veer off and go towards credit cards because that's where you get all the free travel and whatnot. But we were in this general area here. Take your VP out to lunch, get them to know, like, and trust you. Okay. Ask them about the products that they have. And eventually what you're doing with all those questions is you're leading into what I've been able to accomplish with my bank. I'm looking for a no doc or a low doc program. And it's a little bit different than a line of credit. A line of credit, if I get a line of credit and I start using it, then it will show up when I go to do like a refinance on property later. That's a debt. If I start using the line of credit, that's a debt, and that's going to show up. It's going to show up on my tax returns and all that, and to the next bank I go to. A no doc or a low doc program is one of those like really gray areas that Chase Bank's not going to give you one. You got to find your small local banks and really, get them to know, like, and trust you. There are banks out there that have these no doc and low doc programs, and the one I'm working with right now is one of them. It's a low doc. It's not. They do make me sign some paperwork, but if you want to go for a line of credit, typically they're going to ask you for some collateral. They're going to ask you for, do you have a property that you have a bunch of equity in, or free and clear that we can essentially go on as a lien holder, or take loan against it. So that's going to be your line of credit. You're going to have to provide some collateral to get that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Super helpful. Thank you.
You got it. No problem.
There's a question that says, what does no doc, low doc mean?
It's when you're having to sign very little documentation. You're not, you know, they might ask you for 2 years tax returns. I didn't even have to provide tax returns for this bank. It's one of those that they're going to give you a loan because they're a small bank, you know, they're in that, I would say in that $1 to $5 million range that bank, or sorry, I'm saying that $1 to $5 billion range, where they've got funds that they want to put to work, but they're such a small bank that they don't have a ton of customers. So they'll extend you, or they'll offer these low doc or no doc programs where you're not signing your life away to get these loans. You're not having to do, you know, 2 years tax returns, personal and business, so on and so forth. I guess I'm bringing that up because a lot of us, I talk to a lot of Fortune Builders students that are, you know, in their first 1 or 2 years, and they're not able to produce these documents that a lot of the banks want to see. They're in their first 1, 2, or 3 properties, and they don't really have a big balance sheet or list of projects that they've completed, and they're looking to get away from the hard money lenders. So this is the track we go down. So you need to get into one of these programs, and there's a lot of people are getting into these programs. They're out there for sure, but like I said, 9 out of 10 are going to say kick rocks, no way. You don't want to go to Chase Bank looking for one of these. You're not going to get it. You want to look for the little guy.
Yeah, and so those loan programs you're using then to refinance your properties, like you said, or I'm assuming other investors are using them for their fix and flips instead of the hard money, like you mentioned. So there's different opportunities on why you'd want to use them. And I'm assuming that, are they also not requiring a personal guarantee on those with the no doc, low doc?
Yep, no personal guarantee on those either.
Yeah.
It all falls back onto the business, and really, like I said, there's very little documentation anyways. They'll have you sign some stuff, but it's like low doc. The stack of paper I got from this bank is like 20 sheets long instead of a Bible.
I hate refinancing properties, man.
It's interesting. It's very, very interesting.
Well, also because I have a lot of short-term rentals. And so right now, you know, just after COVID, they were like, we don't know what the status of short-term rentals are going to be. So we're not going to count that income. And I'm like, what? I have 4 properties that are making like grossing like close to $100,000 a year. And you're not going to count that income. Even when I had a W-2, Jordan, it didn't matter if you're not going to include the income from 4 of my properties. So
yeah, that's crazy. That's wild. I can't. That's kind of hard to believe.
And when you're talking about 4 properties that are worth $500,000 a piece, as opposed to, you know, your $20,000 rental properties, it's a lot harder to refi.
I mean, they tightened up on us in 2020 as well. Like it's crazy that in 65% loan to value. I'm like,
yeah,
we're in them for more than that, dude. That's not going to help me. Well, you know, I don't want to do that. I need 80% and I need the rest of the cash in my pocket. That's the whole point of this.
Yeah. Liz, did you still have a question? Because you were about to jump in before when Wendy cut you off.
I don't know anymore. It's getting
That's
late.
right. I should say it's after 7:30. Liz turns into a gremlin and she's just useless. Just useless.
That's when Marie comes up and Liz goes down.
But here, we're in the morning.
I walk into the office. Wait, I'm talking. I walk into the office and she's like, hi, how are you? How was your weekend? How was that? And I'm like, great, Liz. Great. And like now I'm like, hey, Liz, how you doing? She's like, Marie, it's my bedtime. So we're on total opposite schedules. It's hysterical because I literally want to look at her some mornings and I'm like, just don't talk to me before noon, please.
I'm so confused. Like my brain's confused because I used to be like that too. I'd go to bed at 3 and wake up at, well, whenever I wanted to wake up. Now I got to wake up for this job at 6 a.m. I'm super confused. Then I still can't go to sleep because I've never been a early faller, early riser, early go to bedder or whatever that is. I don't know. So I'm like getting 4 or 5 hours sleep.
Ugh,
I
couldn't.
can
All right,
totally
well, I will
function
tell
on
you
6
guys
hours.
here's, yeah, but for you guys here in Phoenix, or well, it's not even just here in Phoenix, but I've had incredible luck with MidFirst Bank. I've been with him for a long time, but I got a line of credit, I got a business, I got an SBA loan, I got a PPP loan. I mean, they've been really good. So, I mean, MidFirst, and Marie can attest to that. One of our accounts is there, and literally I can call him, hey, Ashley, it's Liz. I can't transfer this amount because it's over. And she's like, she knows it's me. Give me your birth date. And then she does it. So they're super great. But Marie and I have wanted to establish credit in small banks. So that will be a thing to do. The question that I had, and I don't want this to go into some big thing, and that's why, Jordan, I didn't want to ask it now, but Fortune Builders pushes the business credit, and there's a whole expensive program you can get into. And I know. And so the thing is with that is what you're talking about right now and getting our businesses up and running. How, and that's why I asked you this earlier. It's not 10 years down the road. We have another business that is 20 years old, and I have a Dun and Bradstreet number with them. And I have bought cars through directly with that company and all that. And I didn't understand the value of that way back when, because, it was a cell tower business is another thing. But how long? I mean, this doesn't have to take years and years and years and years to get this established. And we don't necessarily, if we haven't done the big credit thing there, we don't necessarily need that route, correct?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It doesn't take that long. I think the knowledge part of it is the key. Just being informed and just knowing the right steps to take. I don't know what NCH does for Fortune Builder students. I know it's expensive as hell. And I know that the people that have come to me have said, yeah, they really didn't do anything. I think learning this stuff and actually just doing it yourself. Like, I know it sucks. You got to spend some time on it, but it's not that hard. It's really not. It's all online. It's all digital, except for the meeting the bankers part of it, like that's the only thing you have to leave your house for. You got to go shake hands and kiss babies and sign documents, and that's it.
Well, Jordan, before we jump off here, because it's getting close to 8 o'clock anyway, just give everybody a quick overview. I mean, everybody knows I don't bring anyone on here to kind of sell their product. I bring people on here that are going to educate us and teach us how to do stuff on our own. But
Right.
Just give them a quick overview of, I mean, even pricing comparison to, I know people that have paid for the business credit through NCH, but just give them a quick 2 minutes what you do with your credit consulting, just in case anybody's interested.
Yeah. So first and foremost, we do personal. So my personal program this is all a coaching program. I'm not going to do any of this stuff for you. I'm going to teach you how to do it yourself. And I think that's an important part, because then you can go teach your friends, teach them for free or charge them. So I charge $97 for the first month to do personal. And what that does is I evaluate your personal credit report and find the weaknesses and teach you how to fix those. After the first month, it's like $37, $1 a day to keep me as a coach and to keep me monthly, weekly calls, constant text messages, emails, whichever you prefer. We're just in constant communication, and I teach you the next step. I don't like to overwhelm my personal clients, because a lot of them are like, you guys probably not so much, but most of them have many collections, and that's first step. So we do everything from remove collections, get your credit card set up. It might be a secured card for one person because they have no credit. It might be tiers of personal credit cards, from your no annual fee ones all the way up to your big dog platinum cards. So it's just a constant education. You can keep me around for as long as you want, or cancel on me because you don't like me. It doesn't really matter to me. It's just an educational purpose. You're paying me for my time, essentially, at that point. And then with the business side of it, so one time I didn't know how to do this on a monthly rolling thing. I pretty much gave you 50% of my program right there in the two little slides that I did. It's not that difficult. So I just charge a flat rate, $297, to teach you how to do all these things. $297, not NCH 5,000 or whatever they charge. I think that's those two, I don't know if I don't know of anybody that does it more affordably than that. Even like a Fund and Grow, who is literally just going to go apply for a bunch of credit cards for you, charges $3 to $5 grand. So my program is all about education, informing you, and keeping you in the loop on things that are changing. It's planet Earth. Things change every day. So as I get more educated, you get more educated too, and that's how we do it.
All right, so Jordan, I need to know if you or any of your business partners speak Spanish.
Oh, I know you brought that up the other day too. I don't speak
Well,
Spanish.
I'm gonna tell you because, well, you've heard on, on our weekly calls that Liz and I are really, focusing on getting our blogs translated. Our social media is half in English, half in Spanish. Our videos have Spanish subtitles. We obviously have a very big Spanish population here in the Phoenix metro area, but we talked about not only helping them with, buying distressed properties, but really helping them be able to buy properties is a big thing with the community because, one of my best friends is Mexican and she's like, if you are from Mexico, like the idea of debt, like they don't want debt. They don't want credit cards. They inherit properties and then they build homes on land and they do it little by little. And so just like our culture of like, no, debt is a good thing. You have to have a credit card so that you can apply for a mortgage, so that you can afford to buy a house. Like, I think there's such an educational component. And I know that that's kind of, what you're focused on with the credit stuff. But I'm just worried that they're not going to be able to understand someone who speaks.
No,
so we're
I
gonna
have two guys.
find-
I have two guys, Edwin Gonzalez and Juventino Gaitan. They are both Spanish speaking, but they also speak pretty good English. So I am helping them out. Maybe they can, maybe I can see
you
if
can
they can
team
help
up with
their own
them.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, and want to do that. So I'm just throwing that idea out there to you, kind of get it in your subconscious mind so that you can figure out a way, because that's where, Liz
Marie,
and I
that's
really-
incredible because even if Christy or Julie, Marco's daughter-in-law, if they can get into that with us and learn from him and somehow there's a team, a partnership there for the people out here. And Jordan, we can talk about that, but that's a great idea.
Yeah, you got to remember, I'm in West Virginia. We barely speak English here, so Spanish is like completely foreign to me.
He's like, we speak hillbilly and we
That's it.
Yeah. No, seriously, what is that one show where they like make the whatever that liquor, whatever that stuff is?
Moonshine?
Yeah, they make moonshine in like
I'll send you some. You'll be drunk for a week.
In like the middle of nowhere. And literally my husband's watching the show and I'm like, what hillbilly show are you watching that? Their English is so bad. There's subtitles on it because you can't even understand them.
Hey, do yourself a favor and go Google or Netflix or something, Jessica White. Have you ever heard of Jessica White?
No.
Oh man, if you want a good laugh on a Saturday night, you got to go. Don't do it during the week. It'll mess your brain up, but go look up Jessica White.
Okay. I'll write that one down.
He's got a documentary on him. He's a Boone County boy. And you think about hillbillies.
That's probably what he was watching because I did not understand what this guy was saying. I was like, he's in America? What?
That's where hillbillies originated right there. That's the birthplace of hillbillies is Boone County. Not so much here where I'm at. We have like real buildings and our capital's really pretty and we have high schools and stuff. So. Hey, and if you didn't hear, Marshall just won the national championship in soccer. So.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
West Virginia. A buddy that graduated from Marshall.
Yeah, I didn't go to school there, but it's 45 minutes from me.
Are you off 95? Would I have driven through there going to Florida?
Me?
Yeah.
No, you're closer to the ocean, 95.
You're too far that way? Because I definitely drive through Virginia going to Florida.
No, you drive through West Virginia, Columbus down to the Carolinas.
Yeah, we're 77, 79.
My dad lives in Myrtle Beach, well, outside of Myrtle Beach, Conway, South Carolina. So when we still take 95 most of the way down, but then have to start going.
Yeah, that's I think you're going like DC, Baltimore on 95, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like 6 hours that way.
Yeah. No, okay. So I don't go that far. I don't go that far west when I was in New York.
All right, cool. Jordan, you're awesome. Thank
Hey,
you.
thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Any last questions before we jump off here? Anybody? Rochelle always likes to say something nice at the end.
I just always am so grateful for you getting everyone to come on, and Jordan, you taking your time like all night, and then you have the puppy that needs to go in with his paw, so go do dog.
Yeah, she's yelling at her right now. She's struggling. I don't know
Uh-huh.
what happened.
Here, I didn't realize that. Go take care of your
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
Because that's
I
going to
will.
be a long night too.
And thank
I
you
know.
so much, because this was just hugely helpful.
Yeah,
Thank
this is
you.
awesome. Thank you.
Yes,
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
right.
Thank you,
I
Jordan.
hope everybody learned something. If you learned something,
yeah.
just one little thing, it's success for me.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys, take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Reach out
Thank you.
anytime too.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.